Albinism is the congenital absence of any pigmentation or coloration in a person or animal, resulting in white hair, feathers and skin, and pink eyes. Unfortunately, few people know how difficult it is for these creatures to survive in their natural habitat. Rare color makes them different to find a pair to reproduce and get food for themselves. In this list, we prepared top 20 most beautiful albino animals you won't believe exist. Albino lion. Polar bears and polar tigers are all from the cold, where these animals can hide in ice and snow and adapt to climate change. However, there are polar lions in the world who live in the hottest continent, specifically in South Africa. Scientists have suggested that these species lived in Africa for thousands of years and were discovered only a century ago. These animals are no different from their sand-brown relatives. It's just fur that makes them so unique and attractive. Panthera leo-krugeri are albinos, just like other white animals such as rabbits, squirrels, and even giraffes. Their skin does not produce melanin, so they remain white, while their eyes are not always watery transparent like the other albino animals, and instead are brown like ordinary lions. Albino giraffe. In 2017, the world was delighted when a video of two albino giraffes from Kenya hit the internet. They were a completely white giraffe mom and her baby. The cubs of the albino giraffe attracted a lot of attention because they are extremely rare animals, even in nature. Unfortunately, the world's last female white giraffe and her cub were killed by poachers. Now there is only one male giraffe of his species left. Albino horse. Albino horses are born entirely white and remain so for life. Unlike most albino animals you won't believe actually exist, such as mice and rabbits, horses do not have red eyes. Instead, it is pretty common for them to have either brown or light blue eyes. Still, there is no pigment in their skin, and because of that, some scientists think that these horses aren't really albinos, they're just white. Albino deer. For a deer, being an albino can be considered as both a curse and a blessing. The reason is that without natural camouflage in the forest, it is much harder for white-furred animals to hide from predators. On the other hand, the beauty and grace of the white deer save them from hunters, because it is believed that killing a white deer brings misfortune. We can suggest that these endangered white animals themselves invented this legend. Albino turtle. Sea turtles have long been in danger of extinction. Albino turtles are so rare that every photo of them instantly becomes an internet hit. In 2016, a group of volunteers on an Australian beach in Queensland discovered a sea turtle laying eggs. The eggs were hatched, 122 turtles in total. One of them turned out to be an albino. Volunteers called him Albino, and he immediately became an internet star. Albino owl. This majestic creation directly from Harry Potter movies was first discovered in 2016. Images with a red-eyed owl appeared in the network a couple of years ago and instantly attracted a lot of attention. The bird looks too unusual. The albino owl has no pigment in its skin and feathers, while its eyes are bright red, so even blood vessels can be seen through it. The owl, the hero of the video, is unknown. Judging by the presence of a cage, she is someone's pet. Thus, the bird at least does not face the threats that would wait for it in the wild. Albino squirrel. Only 1 in 100,000 of these tiny creatures are born white, so you can consider yourself very lucky if you see one. Albino squirrels are usually easy prey for hawks because, once again, they are easy to spot against the background of grass and leaves. Due to that reason, white squirrels generally survive in urban environments where they share parks with their gray and red brothers. Albino gourami. Not only animals, birds, and insects can be albinos, there are also fish with such deviations. As in the case of other albino creatures, their bodies also do not produce pigment, from which gourami fish become white as snow. If you ever want to have a snow-white gourami as a pet, try to avoid bright lights in the aquarium as much as possible because it makes the fish have impaired vision. Albino Doberman. The very first references to unusual white Dobermans date back to 1976. Some people like such an unusual color of coat, but as a rule, the overwhelming majority of people tend to consider these white dogs to be victims of mutation, rather than full representatives of their breed. Albino Dobermans have white fur, blue eyes, and a pink nose. The lack of melanin makes their eyes and skin very sensitive to the sun, so if you have albino Dobermans, you need to stock up on a huge amount of sunscreen and make sure your dog wears a vest for his walk. Albino crow. The white crows aren't fiction at all. Because of their white feathers, they don't look like their black relatives. Albino crows are very rare, and they are even believed to have magical powers. Albino crows are usually as curious as their black and gray brothers, but due to the lack of pigment, they are very sensitive to sunlight. So for the most part, their friend is the person who gives them love and care. Albino hedgehog. Albino hedgehogs became an internet star after his Japanese owner posted his pet's charming pictures on the internet. Normally, hedgehogs have to walk several kilometers overnight to collect food and also hibernate during the winter months to survive cold temperatures. However, under the roof of Japanese owner Tokiko Kojima, this fascinating animal does not hibernate and instead rests in his cabin and eats only milk and ham for a year. The most curious thing about albino hedgehogs is that they're so white that they even glow in the dark. Unfortunately, these unique animals are also in big danger. If you ever meet such a hedgehog, it is better to take him home or to the zoo because he will not survive in the wild. Albino moose. A white moose has recently been spotted in the Värmland region of Sweden and immediately became a star on the internet. It turns out that there are people who have been trying to photograph such an animal for years, and one of them finally got lucky enough after 3 years of unsuccessful searches. White moose belongs to the rare albino animals list, so they are never hunted because they are under protection. Albino peacock. In the peacock plumage, you can trace a complex pattern always shimmering with different colors, or it seems to us that way. Although albino peacocks do not have any color in their plumage, they are still one of the most beautiful animals in the world. Male peacocks usually have their bright feathers to attract females. Unfortunately, the albino peacock does not boast a variety of colors, but this does not make it less significant. It even looks like Princess Elsa from the movie Frozen. In many cultures, a white peacock represents death, rebirth, eternal life, and glory. Albino tiger. The tiger is one of the largest predators, second only to white and brown bears. However, you should not confuse albino tigers with white tigers, which are quite common in India. White tigers have white fur and bright black stripes, where albino tigers have lighter fur and pink eyes. Albino tigers pass on their genes to their offspring, so finding a whole family of tigers with albinism is possible. There was a known case where 2 of these most beautiful white animals whose eyes were red were killed in India. Albino tigers also once lived in South Korea until they were exterminated there as well. Albino orangutan. The world's only orangutan albino is seen alive and well in a rainforest in the Indonesian part of the island of Borneo. The villagers kept a blue-eyed and white-wooled primate called ALBA in a cage as a pet. The animal guards took the female orangutan in 2017. After that, he spent 20 months in a center for orangutans on Borneo's island and was released. Unlike their initial fears, the center's staff believed that ALBA can survive in the wild. Albino alligator.
Before we begin, click that like button to inspire us. Also, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be inspired by this type of ultimate fact.
Perhaps it is one of the coolest albino animals. It is extremely rare, but albinism is found even in reptiles. Alligators live mostly in U.S. waters, and no one really wants to face them. Alligator albinos are very rare. There are only 20 such individuals in the world. Their white coverage makes them, like deer, easy prey for predators, so they don't live in the wild for long. Their skin is also very sensitive to sunlight. The most famous albino alligator named White Diamond lives in Germany in Serengeti Park. It was initially brought from Louisiana to participate in a reptile show. Albino dolphin. Gray dolphins have a rounded head, high dorsal fin, and their bodies are usually covered with numerous scars. In 2018, the world was delighted when an albino dolphin was spotted in the Bay of Monterey in California. It was a young gray dolphin that sailed with hundreds of its friends. It was first talked about in 2014 and was nicknamed Casper. It is currently the only documented albino dolphin. Albino kangaroo. There are more kangaroos than people in Australia, so tourists will not be surprised by them. But the albino kangaroos are a different story. Many of these amazing animals live in captivity, but recently reported that an albino kangaroo near Canberra City was spotted. Experts say that such kangaroos develop vision and hearing problems, so it is not easy to survive in the wild. Albino zebra. We all know that zebras are white with black stripes, and scientists still can't say with certainty why nature gave them this color. But have you ever seen the golden zebra? The term refers to a zebra albino, a zebra with a lack of pigmentation, or a type known as a zebroid. In the minds of various people, all these zebras are gold. In fact, there is no difference between an albino zebra and a zebra with a melanin deficiency. When someone talks about a zebra with a melanin deficiency, they actually talk about an albino, an animal incapable of producing the pigment found in all other representatives of its species. Albino gorilla. The albino gorilla Snowball has become the most photographed animal in the world. It attracted millions of visitors to its zoo in Barcelona and lived 39 years. Born in 1966 in Spanish Guinea, he was the only white gorilla in the world. According to researchers, Snowflake's albinism was related to inbreeding. Unfortunately, this unique trait also turned out to be fatal for its host. In 2004, he died of skin cancer, which was associated with his albinism. Which is the most beautiful? Have you ever seen an albino animal in real life? Share your experience in the comments.
Like always, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and leave us some love in the comments section. To keep up to date with all of our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on to never miss a thing. Until next time, do take good care of yourself.